This is one of the most influential painting in Brazilian history, perhaps even in South America. It's the most expensive Brazilian artwork, but the reason for that isn't really obvious. It's just a figure sitting on top of some hill next to a blooming cactus. Its flower, a huge yellow circle, tops the composition, acting as the sun. The three elements, the figure, the cactus, and the flower, are all packed inside a small, rectangular frame. The figure, with its abnormally swelling hands and feet, seemed to be, if not melting, pinned down by its own weight. Tarsila do Amaral, the artist who made this painting, said that it's a monstrous solitary figure, enormous feet sitting on a green plain, the hand supporting the featherweight minuscule head, in front of a cactus exploding in an absurd flower. But none of this really explains the importance of her painting. To really understand it, we must learn about Brazilian culture, Tarsila do Amaral's personal life, and cannibalism. But first, we need to go back all the way to 1641 and look at this painting by Albert Eckhout. It's quite striking. It's a life-size, full-body portrait of a Tapuia woman. Eckhout was sent to Dutch Brazil to document the newly conquered territory and its people. When Brazil was conquered, it was composed by two indigenous groups, within which are different subgroups, the Tupis and the Tapuias. Tapuia means non-Tupi. Here, Eckhout portrays a Tapuia woman, but the shocking part of this image is the human body parts she's carrying. Both the Tupi and the Tapuia people had cannibalistic rituals, and this is what is being represented here. Traveler Zacharias Wagner wrote of them. When one dies among them, a man or a woman, the body is not buried. It is cut and divided into small pieces which they devour half raw or half roasted. They claim that their friend is better kept inside their bodies than in the heart of the dark land. The remaining bones are softened in the fire and then reduced to dust, mixed with other food and ingested over time. Warriors from other tribes would also, when taken prisoner, be eaten. Through the ritual of eating the bodies of strong warriors, Tupis and Tapuias believed they absorbed their victims' strength. The cannibalism of the indigenous peoples of what is now Brazil is contested, but it remains very important when looking at Tarsila do Amaral's Abaporu because the word Abaporu means man people eat, or a person who eats people, in the Tupi-Guarani language. This fact by itself doesn't really enlighten us on what this painting is or what it's supposed to represent. While cannibalism is often associated with violence and brutality, this painting is peaceful and soothing. Tarsila created this painting as a birthday present to her husband Oswald de Andrade, who would later write, inspired by his gift, Manifesto Antropófago, or the Cannibalistic Manifesto. And this is exactly where we can truly grasp the importance of this painting. The cannibalism is not literal but metaphorical. Both lovers wanted to create and proliferate Brazilian nationalistic modern art. Oswald's manifesto starts as follows: "Cannibalism alone unites us, socially, economically, philosophically." Cannibalism is being reclaimed as some sort of unifying process which, at first, may sound contradictory. Oswald argues that Brazil's identity, nationally and culturally, should be formed through the centuries-old ritual of cannibalization. Tarsila's husband is obviously not advocating for his fellow Brazilians to eat each other, but to eat other cultures, or more specifically, Western cultures. As the Tupi people allegedly once ate their enemies to gain their strength, Brazilian artists must eat Western art to gain from it. In the manifesto you can read, "Tupi or not Tupi? That is the question." Here, Oswald isn't only reclaiming the indigenous roots of Brazilian culture, but he's also eating and digesting the first line of Shakespeare's famous soliloquy. He's saying, take a look at the dominating Western culture, but don't copy it. Make it your own. Consume it, eat it, and from your digestion, create something new. Create something Brazilian. And to go full circle to Abaporu, Tarsila do Amaral did cannibalize modern Western art. In 1920, she went to the Julian Academy in Paris, where she studied alongside, notably, Fernand Léger. The figure's position in Abaporu is extremely reminiscent of Rodin's The Thinker. Abaporu, the people-eating person, or in this case, the culture-eating person, is Tarsila do Amaral, but it could also be Oswald de Andrade, or Anita Malfatti, Menotti del Pichia, Mario de Andrade, or any other Brazilian artist. The figure has no age, it has no sex, it has no clothes. The cannibal can be anyone who dares to swallow the dominant culture and use it as fuel to create something Brazilian, to create something authentic, to create something truly unique. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing if you have already. And I'd like to thank especially You Design I Write and Kohler for supporting me on Patreon. If you also want to support me and get this 6x9 postcard print, this is the one I sent this week. You can check out patreon.com/thecanvas.